Now then, to an exclusive and incredible story being run on the France 24 website today. Now, the story is of a Frenchman who went to join jihadists in Syria. He left the Parisian suburbs with his wife and children 7 months ago to go to Aleppo and was seriously injured a few days ago. Well, our journalist, Charlotte Boitier, has spoken to him and also to the French newspaper Libération. With me here on set is Leela Jacinto, who's also been working on the story. I mean, it's a remarkable and disturbing story, isn't it, Leela? Just tell us, first of all, how France 24 has got hold of this testimony.
Absolutely remarkable, alarming, as you say. We managed to get this testimony really because, as you said, Charlotte Boitier, our journalist, actually knew this young man before he left for Syria. And what we have here is really the first account, a first testimony of a French fighter from the battlefield in Syria. Because he knew Charlotte, he agreed to communicate with her, and this is a summary of his testimony, which was taken, via phone calls, via emails, and primarily Facebook messages from Jan 27th, when he agreed to get in touch with her, up to Feb 8th. After that, he has not been heard of. So we do not know actually if he is wounded or if he is killed. Both these prospects, I must say, that he repeatedly said he's absolutely prepared to face. And I believe that, it's perhaps, it was this sort of certainty that he would either die on the battlefield or, as he said, he had no intention of returning to France, that compelled him to take a very risky step of talking to a journalist. Because, it must be said that foreign fighters, foreign jihadists come under, suspicion by the emirs and senior jihadists because they're always afraid of infiltration by intelligence agents.
OK, it's an incredible story, worth having a look at the website for, obviously. Look at the wider picture. How many Western nationals do we know could be fighting in Syria?
Well, as you can imagine, these estimates are very hard to nail. But Western governments have been providing estimates. They tend to be on the lower side. There are also, monitoring agencies that come up with figures. There's a London-based group called the ICSR, the International Center for Studying Radicalization, and they estimate that there are 11,000 fighters, foreign fighters in Syria since 2011. 18% of these are from West European countries. And they actually provided a breakdown of the countries of origin. And we have that graphic. You will see that France is number one. So the most number of European fighters in Syria are from France, followed by Britain and Germany. Now, the French government has actually released an official estimate. They estimate that there are 250 French nationals or residents currently fighting in Syria right now. And one of the interesting things about this conflict, which has gone on for nearly 3 years now, is that the spike in European nationals really took off in the summer of 2013 when Hezbollah officially declared that they were joining the war. That sort of pit the Syrian conflict really as a sectarian fight between the Shiites, Hezbollah and Iran, and Sunni Muslims. And I think that's what radicalized a lot of European young men.
And what about back home? I mean, do these fighters pose any threat in their home countries? Any security implications here?
Blowback. Since the Afghan conflict of the 1980s, this fear of radicalized youth returning home and joining militancy has obsessed intelligence agencies. As of now, it's too early to see. It must also be said that, there have been conflicts in Somalia, etc., that have attracted foreign fighters, and there's been no sign of blowback. Syria is also particular because it can be said that there's a political angle to it. They are fighting against Bashar al-Assad's forces. But if the Afghan conflict of the 1980s is anything to go by, this really represents a very real threat. Because if you see Al-Qaeda's trajectory, it began with the anti-Soviet fight in Afghanistan. Then Osama bin Laden moved the enemy to the Saudi monarchy. This was after the 1990s Gulf War, of what Al-Qaeda calls the near enemy. But pretty soon they shifted it to what they call the far enemy, which is the US and the West. So these fighters are a really extensively, they're battle-hardened, they're a very good resource for jihadist figures. Fighting Bashar al-Assad's army gives them incredible experience in sniper training, explosives, the use of firearms. So they definitely represent a threat for the West.
Leela Jacinto, thanks very much. Leela, who's been working on that story, you'll find it on the France 24 website, france24.com. You need the English version, assuming you don't speak French. Also in Libération today. Thanks a lot.